Imagine I lock you in a room for 30 days. You have food, water, a bed, a bathroom. You can move around. You can even bring books. There is just one small problem. There are no windows, no lamps, no glowing phone, no tiny microwave clock, not even that suspicious little green light on the smoke detector. Nothing. For an entire month, you live in complete darkness. At first, you might think, perfect, 30-day nap. Unfortunately, your brain has other plans because after only a few days, something very strange starts happening. You stop knowing what time it is, then you stop knowing when you're supposed to sleep, and eventually, your own body begins running on a schedule that has almost nothing to do with the world outside. So, what would actually happen if you spent an entire month in darkness? Let's start with day 1. You enter the room at noon, the door closes, and immediately, you discover that darkness is really dark. Sounds obvious, but normally, even at night, you almost never experience total darkness. Street lights enter through your curtains. Your phone lights up. Your alarm clock glows. Your refrigerator turns your kitchen into a tiny supermarket whenever you open it. Here, nothing. Your eyes immediately try to compensate. Your pupils widen. Your visual system becomes more sensitive. You may start noticing tiny amounts of light you would normally completely ignore. But if the room is truly lightless, there is nothing for your eyes to find. So, your brain quickly begins relying much more heavily on sound, touch, and memory just to move around. Suddenly, walking 5 steps to your bed becomes a mission.
Ouch!
The first night probably wouldn't feel particularly unusual. Your body already expects darkness at night. In fact, darkness normally helps tell your brain that nighttime has arrived. Your brain has an internal timing system called your circadian clock. Think of it as a tiny manager inside your head carrying a clipboard. Morning sunlight arrives. Okay, everyone, wake up. Night gets dark? Excellent. Prepare the human for sleep. Light detected by your eyes helps synchronize this clock with the outside world, while darkness is associated with nighttime biological signals, including melatonin. But now you've fired the sun, and your internal manager has lost his schedule. Day 2, you wake up. At least you think you woke up in the morning. It could be 8 a.m., it could be 1 p.m., it could be 4:17 in the morning. You have absolutely no idea. Normally, morning light gives your body a powerful timing signal. Without that repeating light-dark cycle, your internal clock can continue producing rhythms, but it no longer has its biggest environmental cue telling it exactly where the 24-hour day is. Studies of people isolated from normal time cues have found that biological rhythms can begin to free run, often on a cycle slightly different from exactly 24 hours. Imagine your body decides that one day is a little longer than Earth's day. That doesn't sound dramatic, but those small differences accumulate. Sleep a little later, wake a little later, sleep later, again, repeat. Eventually, your bedtime, according to your body, might happen while everyone outside is eating breakfast. Your brain basically creates its own time zone. Population? You. And this is where things get confusing. Because sleep isn't controlled by darkness alone. You also build up sleep pressure the longer you stay awake. So you could still get tired. You could still sleep. You wouldn't simply fall asleep on day 1 and wake up 30 days later with a massive beard. Instead, your schedule could become increasingly disconnected from normal clock time. You might sleep for several hours, wake up, eat, read, exercise, wonder whether 6 hours or 16 hours have passed, get tired again, and repeat. Without clocks, sunlight, work schedules, dinner with other people, and everything else we use to divide life into chunks, time itself becomes surprisingly difficult to estimate. Minutes can feel long, hours can disappear. You finish what feels like a 40-minute nap and think, good morning. Meanwhile, somewhere outside, sir, it is Tuesday. By the end of the first week, another problem appears. Boredom. Serious boredom. You thought being without TikTok for 10 minutes was difficult? Now imagine 7 days with nothing visual happening. Your wall, black. Your ceiling, black. Your hand, congratulations, also black. So your brain starts looking for stimulation somewhere else. Every tiny sound becomes interesting. A pipe clicks, you freeze. What was that? Your stomach growls. Who's there? Your own sock touches your foot, and for approximately half a second, you accept that this is how you die. There is also an important psychological difference between darkness and simply closing your eyes. Humans normally experience a predictable cycle: bright during the day, dark during the night. Light doesn't only influence sleep timing. Research has also linked light exposure with alertness and mood, while abnormal light environments can interfere with circadian organization, sleep, and emotional functioning. So staying in darkness for weeks probably isn't going to turn you into a mysterious cave wizard. You're more likely to feel increasingly out of sync. Your sleep schedule may become strange. Your energy may rise at weird times. And psychologically, isolation and monotony would probably become just as important as the darkness itself, because humans are really bad at doing absolutely nothing. Give a human an empty room long enough and eventually they'll start studying the wall, except you can't even see the wall. Now we reach week 2. At this point, you've developed techniques. You keep objects in exact places: bed 6 steps forward, food 3 steps left, bathroom 8 steps right, chair, still somehow attacking your shin every day. Your brain can build surprisingly useful mental maps without vision. You become more careful, more dependent on touch. You may start recognizing objects almost immediately from their shape and texture, but your eyes haven't magically stopped working. This is important. Spending a month in darkness does not automatically make a healthy person permanently blind. Your visual system is still there. It simply isn't receiving normal visual input, and your eyes continue adapting to whatever tiny amount of light might exist. Now imagine you've made it to day 20. Someone asks, "How long have you been inside?" And you confidently answer, "About 9 days." It has been 20. This is one of the strangest parts of removing environmental time cues. We think we can feel time. Usually we can't. We cheat. We use sunrise, meals, work, traffic, messages, television, people going to bed, birds making noise at an offensively early hour. Take all those clues away, and your sense of where you are in the day becomes much less reliable. Your body still produces rhythms, but 2 p.m. is something the clock knows, not something your stomach can read from a calendar. Finally, day 30. The door opens. For the first time in a month, light enters the room, and your first reaction probably would not be, "Ah, the sun," while instantly exploding into dust. But after prolonged darkness, suddenly stepping into bright illumination could be extremely uncomfortable because your eyes have been adapted to very low light. You'd want the transition to be gradual rather than immediately staring directly at bright sunlight. And there's something else waiting outside: the clock. Your internal schedule may no longer line up neatly with the local day-night cycle, but light is exactly what helps reset it. Morning and evening lights can shift the timing of the human circadian clock in different directions, which is why carefully timed light is used in circadian and sleep research. So over time, regular daylight, normal meals, social activity, and a consistent schedule would help pull your body back toward ordinary life. Your internal manager finally gets his clipboard back. Okay, everybody, sunrise at 7, lunch at 12, stop sleeping at 4 in the afternoon. And that might be the most interesting part of this experiment. We think light exists mainly so we can see, but your body uses it as information. Light tells your brain something fundamental: where you are in time. Every sunrise is basically Earth sending your brain a notification. New day started. And unlike most notifications, you actually need this one. So, if you spent 30 days in total darkness, the darkness itself probably wouldn't transform you into a monster. You wouldn't evolve night vision. You wouldn't become permanently nocturnal. And you definitely wouldn't become Batman. What you would discover is something much stranger. A huge part of your daily life is being quietly organized by a giant glowing ball 150 million kilometers away. You never set it, you never charge it, it has no snooze button, but every morning the sun resets billions of human clocks, and you normally don't even notice it until someone turns it off.